Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now, live at 4 on this Wednesday, halfway through the week.
Halfway there.
How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, one day at a time.
Susan broke her arm over the weekend.
Yeah, I'll be okay.
If you haven't tuned in before that, but...
It's just going to be a long couple of weeks. Actually, our desk is perfectly positioned to rest my arm right here. It feels really good.
That's why we have it.
Yeah.
All right. We got lots going on today, and here's what's making news on this Wednesday. The governor wants the state to pitch in and help expand the facilities at the Alliant Energy Center. Rose Schmidt has the details on that.
A Sauk County supervisor resigns the same day he faces a judge on child pornography charges.
And reaction to the explosive interview of R. Kelly that he gave to Gayle King, and later her impression on what was happening during that interview.
Let's take a look outside today. Nice to see the sun. Another cold one, though.
Yeah, this guy...
Like all of us, he's waiting for spring,
Yes.
looking for it.
Winter's 2-week notice. I was going to say, is that a cow? I can't tell from here. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yes, it is.
It's a farm. Yes, it's a bovine of some sort. Winter's 2-week notice. Dave Caulfield's in the backyard. Is she going to stick to that?
I hope so. I really do. I'll help Mother Nature out. I'll maybe help her pack her things, get the door for her, and not let it hit her on the way out. But I think we have 14 days, according to the calendar, as to the start of spring. Whether or not temperatures will kind of adhere to that policy, still yet to be seen. But we will have some warmer temperatures on the horizon, so that's good news. Flurries are staying well to the north this afternoon. We've been looking at a lot of sunshine, as Susan and Mark have said. And in Madison, on the WISC-TV Skycam right now at 23 degrees with a west-southwest wind at 10 miles per hour. It does feel more like 12. So temperatures across southwestern Wisconsin are actually closer to 30 degrees. Wind chills are still in the teens across much of the area. Even a few single digits will be in the single digits as far as wind chills go once again for tonight. And then overnight, temperatures will dip into the middle single digits, will fall through the teens for the rest of this evening under partly cloudy skies. Now, let's take a look at your first alert traffic update. Gammon Road and the Beltline, no major problems showing up there in either direction. Across Dane County, no major accidents or incidents to report. As we zoom in, we're starting to notice a little bit of some slowdowns on the Beltline, and a similar story downtown. A few of those brake lights starting to pop up. Eastbound Verona Road to John Nolan Drive. That'll cost you 6 minutes right now, and some other routes in and around Madison still looking good. Westbound Middleton to Sauk City on Highway 12. That is a 17-minute journey at the present time. That's your first alert traffic update. We'll talk more about some milder weather this weekend, but also some rain and snow chances in store as well.
We got 2 weeks to go, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Dave, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Thank you, Dave. First at 4, Governor Evers is proposing that the state cover 1/3 of the planned expansion to the Alliant Energy Center's exhibition hall.
This phase of the project will cost up to $90 million. Rose Schmidt explains what we know about the timeline and the scope of the expansion. Rose?
Yeah, so Dane County officials say design plans are still being drawn up, so they don't yet know when the shovels will go in the ground, but it will not be this year. Evers announced today that the state would chip in $30 million for that project, which will convert the exhibition hall into a full-service convention center. The Alliant Energy Center is host to a variety of events, including the Dane County Fair and the World Dairy Expo. But Evers says many venue users have grown out of that current space.
Many of the prospective users are opting out for other venues with that have adequate space and amenities located outside of the state of Wisconsin. We have to stop that trend.
Other stakeholders say this plan will be a game changer for economic development on Madison's often overlooked south side. Evers says the project is expected to create more than 600 net new jobs and generate $25 million in income tax money over the next 2 decades. Evers will include that $30 million in his capital budget proposal and plans to announce other building projects this week. He also says the rest of the money would come from taxpayer money as well as private partnerships like naming rights. So there's a lot of details still yet to be ironed out.
We'll continue to follow it. All right, thanks, Rose.
A Sauk County Board member appears in court on child pornography charges.
William Wenzel faces 5 felony counts. Eric Franke is here now with more details on the case. Eric?
And Susan and Mark, we have learned in the last hour, confirmed by Sauk County Sheriff Chip Meister, that William Wenzel resigned his position as Sauk County Board District 29 supervisor earlier today. That is a role he had served since 1997. Wenzel made an initial court appearance today after an arrest warrant was issued last week. He was charged last Thursday by the state attorney general's office with those 5 felony counts of possession of child pornography. A judge ordered Wenzel a $5,000 bond with some rules attached.
Also, no internet use except for the purposes of the land surveying business, the work type requirements that Mr. Wenzel participates in as a result of his business, or communication directly with his counsel.
He can also have no contact with minors under the age of 18. He will be back in court on April 17th. Now, News 3 first reported the disturbing details of the criminal complaint last week, which stated that videos found by investigators included very young children and animals as well. Again, Wenzel resigned his post as a Sauk County Board Supervisor earlier today. Mark and Susan.
Eric, thanks.
You're welcome.
The fire station on Madison Island in northern Wisconsin has burned to the ground. An explosion woke up neighbors around 3 this morning, but the firefighters stood by helplessly as their building burned. The fire claimed all 7 fire vehicles of the LaPointe Fire Department that serves the island, along with all of the gear and ambulance service equipment. The Ashland Fire Department could only send a lightweight brush truck to the island because ice leading up to the island could not support heavier engines. About 275 people live in LaPointe on the western shore of Madison Island.
Congress held several hearings today looking at border security and President Trump's national emergency declaration. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen told lawmakers there is an emergency on the southern border that can only be fixed with a border wall. Customs and Border Protection reported February numbers showing the highest total
Yes, the highest total of undocumented immigrants crossing the border in 12 years. Families with children made up more than half of those detained.
We're on pace for over 700,000 crossings this year. That's closer to historic highs than historic lows.
We need a barrier. We cannot take operational control of the border without it.
And next week, the Senate is expected to vote on a House-passed resolution blocking President Trump's national emergency declaration to get border wall funding. President Trump took to Twitter Wednesday, urging Senate Republicans to stay united in opposing the resolution. President Trump's former lawyers on Capitol Hill for a 4th day as House Democrats continue to ramp up investigations into his administration and business dealings. Natalie Brand is on Capitol Hill, where the latest meeting with Cohen is expected to last hours.
We're not going to comment on security clearances.
The White House press secretary faced questions about reports alleging the president pressured staff to give security clearances to his daughter Ivanka Trump and son-in-law Jared Kushner. House Democrats are now demanding documents related to those clearances, but the White House is not handing them over.
We're going to continue to, respond as we deem appropriate.
Pressure from new congressional investigations is mounting as the president's former personal attorney Michael Cohen returned to Capitol Hill for another closed-door session with lawmakers.
We'll make a statement on the way out.
The Senate Intelligence Committee and multiple House committees are investigating the president on several fronts, including allegations of campaign finance violations, abuse of power, obstruction of justice, and ties to Russia.
Georgetown law professor M. Tia Johnson says the House Judiciary Committee's probe could potentially be the most serious for the president.
Because impeachment starts in the Judiciary Committee, the House Judiciary Committee, whatever the House Judiciary Committee is doing should give the president greatest pause.
Judiciary Committee Chairman Jared Nadler has requested documents from 81 people and entities following last week's public testimony from Cohen.
We put out a statement and called Chairman Nadler's absurd and abusive fishing expedition exactly what it is.
Professor Johnson says both sides may end up in court in a fight over access to the documents.
On Capitol Hill, Natalie Brand for News 3 Now.
And House Democratic leadership has been careful not to talk about impeachment, but today freshman Democratic Congressman Rashida Tlaib held a press event with demonstrators calling for those proceedings to begin. Tlaib made headlines shortly after her swearing in for using an expletive towards the president when talking about his impeachment at a gathering inside a bar. Well, singer R. Kelly is back in custody after a hearing in Chicago over unpaid child support. He broke his silence about the 10 counts of sexual abuse against him in an exclusive interview with CBS This Morning's Gayle King. An emotional R. Kelly denied over and over sexually abusing women. The embattled 52-year-old R&B star is charged with 10 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse. Authorities say 3 of the 4 alleged victims were underage when the suspected crimes happened.
This is not me, y'all. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years of my around.
Robert, have you ever had sex with anyone under the age of 17?
No.
Never?
No.
I have to tell you, it's so hard to believe that based on all that we've read.
I'm going to tell you something, Gail. There's one thing. I'm going to tell you something.
What the women said about you.
What women said about me. What women. So nobody's allowed to be mad at me and be scorned and lie on me.
Mm-hmm. So they're lying on you. That's your explanation. They're lying on you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Kelly was acquitted of child pornography charges in 2008. He faces up to 70 years in prison if convicted of the new charges. And a little later, we'll hear from Gayle King about her experiences during that interview. Well, still to come at 4, are you hungry for some barbecue? We've got just the place for you to check out. Our tastemaker takes us to Beef Butter Barbecue. That's when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Feeling better?
Thank you, Mark.
You get a coughing thing, and
I'm telling you, what next? Now I'm getting a cold. I'm getting sick. I cannot catch a break.
Oh, wait a minute. Now it's...
There we go.
There.
Now it's now what next? No, I was just going to say now I'm getting a cold. Everybody around the newsroom is sick, so I cannot catch a break this week.
I'm here.
Thank you. Thanks for being my parachute.
I got you the good cough drops, so we're good.
All right.
So after a year-long absence, the town of Middleton is bringing back Sunflower Days at the Pope Farm Conservancy.
The event, one of the area's most well-attended, will take place at the end of July due to safety concerns because of large crowds. The Friends of Pope Farm Conservancy, a volunteer group, canceled the event last year. The number of people visiting the sunflowers grew from an annual handful in 2007 to 90,000 people over 10 days in 2017, but Middleton's town board decided it would help take over the event with the help of a local event firm. There will be an admission fee this year for anyone over the age of 12, as well as parking and shuttle fees to cover the costs.
That's one way to get through the next few weeks. Just think of the sunflowers. Stocks fell today as investors await details on trade talks between the U.S. and China. The Dow Industrials fell 133 points, ending the day at 25,673. The Nasdaq Composite Index lost 70. The S&P 500 was off 18. Well, the barbecue market is expanding on Madison's north side.
Inspired by his love of Texas barbecue, Patrick Reha opened Beef Butter Barbecue on Sherman Avenue. Madison Magazine's Andrea Bailing checked it out for this month's Tastemaker segment.
Well, we are here at Beef Butter Barbecue with Patrick Reha. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, my pleasure.
We're here with our sweet tea and this huge, beautiful spread. Can you tell me what we have here?
Yes. First of all, we have our famous beef butter brisket, and this happens to be the fatty. We have fatty and we have lean, and they both, even the fatty does not have much fat in it because we end up trimming 25% off before we even begin smoking. Then we smoke it for 12 hours, and that renders out most of the fat away, but it just has a very open grain and texture, and it just makes it fork tender. I mean, it just melts in your mouth. It's unbelievable. Then our second most popular dish is our smoked pulled pork, which is just so moist and tender. I mean, people just go nuts over it.
Oh, yum. Delicious. And these two sides here?
And these two sides, this is our famous smoked apple pie baked beans. I know everything sounds famous, but the smoked apple pie baked beans, we smoke them for 4 hours, and it just has a nice smoky flavor to it. We put a little brisket meat in there.
Yum.
So you got to
try. And is that's an apple piece there?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. They have lots of apples in them.
Yum. Oh, it does. It's very sweet.
And this is our white cheddar mac and cheese, our potato salad, and our coleslaw, and we also do kettle chips.
And what is this here?
Oh, I am so glad you brought that up. That is jalapeno cheddar sausages. We make all of our own sausages in-house. I put in a special sausage line. We have John Lehman from Jim's Meat Market working for us now. And so we have a really nice state-of-the-art pneumatic sausage stuffer, and he makes everything from scratch, and then we smoke it on our smoker. And to take John's famous sausages and then smoke them, it's unbelievable.
Wow. So for those who miss Jim's Meat Market.
He's back in the neighborhood.
Very cool. And this over here.
All right, that is our boneless, skinless, smoked chicken. And it's a special smoker. It's a Myron Mixon smoker where I have a fire pot at the bottom. And then we have a 52-inch by 52-inch water pan with 3 inches of water in. And then we have a giant rotisserie smoker above that. And so what happens is the humidity helps the smoke attach to the meat. And so I have much moister meat than most people can do, and a nice smoke flavor to it.
And this place, did you renovate this place all yourself?
Oh, yeah. No, I had lots of help. In fact, a couple weeks before opening, I was just going to put up pictures of briskets, from other famous barbecue joints across the country, because that's where I got my inspiration from. Yeah. But some friends of mine came in. I think they felt sorry for me, and so they decorated this in one night.
In one night?
In one night.
Wow.
I mean, I had picked out the tables, and the landlord had picked out the floor, but they came in and did the decorations in one night.
Oh,
so
how cool.
I was really touched.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having us here today. I definitely have to try a couple more things.
Right. My pleasure.
And Andrea joins us now. I understand you sampled quite a few extra things.
That video is mouth-watering.
Yes, yeah, everything on that table there, I think I tasted everything. went home very full, but yeah, this place is awesome. And some people, it's funny how with barbecue, some people are purists and it's all about the meat, but other people say, you know, that the sides, it's only as good as the sides they have too, and they do everything really well.
And this started as a food cart, right?
It did, yes. So he's been around, but this brick and mortar just recently opened, and they've had quite a following so far. So
you can almost smell it by watching the video.
It's true. Yes, and the cheddar, the jalapeno cheddar bratwurst, so good.
The sausage.
Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
well, Jim's Remarker lives on.
It does. Yep.
This on Sherman Avenue.
Sherman Avenue, north side. Yep.
All right.
Very good barbecue.
Now we're hungry.
I'm ready. Thanks, Andrea. You can read more about
see you, Andy.
the Tastemaker profile in this month's Madison magazine. And we have one more taste to share. Heinz unveiled 2 new sauces today. They're the Mayo Must, which combines mayonnaise and mustard, and Mayo Q, which brings together mayo and barbecue sauce.
The new sauces are all due to the popularity of Mayo Chup, a mayonnaise ketchup mix that hit stores last year. That is very good. I've had that one.
But you can't mix mustard and mayonnaise by yourself?
Yeah, you can. But yes, you can. But this just makes it one less step.
All right. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Well, take a look at this. Folks in L.A. are used to seeing stars, but this show was something else. Roughly 2,200 lightning strikes hit areas from Santa Barbara to L.A. last night. The thunderstorms prompted the National Weather Service to alert residents to take precautions.
That is wild.
But they don't get a lot of thunderstorms in L.A.
They really don't. So this is a
look at this.
Rare sight. Oh, man, that is beautiful.
Beautiful and frightening.
And dangerous,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Wow.
And from that to football news. Former fullback John Kuhn. How do you say it? Kuhn. What do they do?
Yeah.
He's retiring as the Green Bay Packer, according to an announcement from the team this afternoon. Kuhn played for the Packers for 9 seasons from 2007 to 15. He played 139 regular season games with 32 starts, as well as 15 postseason contests with 5 starts.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah. He was playing for the Saints, but apparently you can pick what team you want to retire from.
Yeah, that's what Jay Wilson was explaining. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah.
I wish winter would retire at this point.
2 weeks, right?
Yeah,
It
2
looks
weeks.
like we may have turned the corner a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And
Don't
you
jinx
never,
it.
Yeah, exactly. Knock on all the wood in the world. We will talk about some slightly warmer temperatures on the way and what to expect for this weekend's weather maker in your News 3 Now First Alert forecast coming up right after this. Good afternoon. I hope you had a great Wednesday so far. A little bit warmer on this Wednesday. This slow warm-up continues across southern Wisconsin after starting off the morning right around 4 degrees for the low. We have made it into the 20s for the first time in a couple of days, so that's at least an improvement. Highs have been in the mid to upper 20s across southern Wisconsin and closer to 30 for southwestern Wisconsin. So there are signs, especially as we look at the next 7 to 10 days, that some more normal temperatures are on the way. It's just the waiting that's the hardest part. Someone should make a song about that. We are looking at Doppler track right now. A few flurries well to the north, really not going to affect us at all. We're looking at mostly sunny skies right now, and we could see some issues when it comes to the snow that's on the ground as we get into this weekend, because temperatures haven't been above freezing in the last week and a half or so. And I think that trend will continue into tomorrow, even though we'll get some warmer temperatures. On Friday, we'll be slightly ahead of schedule when it comes to the freezing mark, ahead of the freezing mark, so above the freezing mark. There we go. Words are hard sometimes, but it really won't give the snow any ample time to melt before some rain is on the way this weekend, and we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. Platteville on the Queen Bee Radio Skycam, looking at partly sunny skies as well. In Madison on the Edgewater Skycam, the almanac for today still about 15 degrees below where we should be for this time of year after starting off today at around 2 degrees. Right now, those temperatures are pretty close to their daytime high, 23 in Madison, 27 in Janesville, 24 in Watertown, and 25 in Platteville. That's about 5 to 10 degrees warmer compared to this time yesterday. So we are getting there, folks. It's just, oh man, you just want the 30s and 40s right away, and you can't always get what you want. Someone should create a song about that as well. It does feel like the low teens in Madison, the middle teens in Mineral Point, and closer to Lone Rock. So tonight, partly cloudy and very cold with temperatures in the middle single digits. On future track, we could see that those temperatures continue to fall through the teens, and we will notice some clearing overnight, mostly clear to partly cloudy skies, starting off right around 4 degrees in Madison with wind chills below 0 possible. But what else is new over the last few days? Then highs will be in the mid-20s once again into Thursday. There's a chance for a few snowflakes, especially closer to the state line as we get into Thursday night and Friday morning. I doubt that snow will have really any impacts for much of southern Wisconsin. And if we do see any impacts closer to Mineral Point and Platteville, maybe Monroe as well, it will be some very minor snow totals. Then looking at partly sunny skies and some warmer temperatures above the freezing mark for the first time in about 2 weeks as we get into Friday. So here are the forecast snow totals, anywhere from about a half an inch to an inch at most. And that is closer to the southwestern tip of the state. Now, we could be talking about some high rain totals as we get into this weekend because the rain will develop on Saturday afternoon. It could be heavy at times. Then as cold air filters into the backside of this system, we could see that rain mixing with snow as we get into early on Sunday. Everything wraps up later on Sunday. Could be very breezy this weekend as well. Here's a look at your 10-day forecast. We can see those alert days in the forecast for Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully that system not too messy, but we'll keep our eye on it. Still some differences in opinion on the track of that system. Then into next week, those temperatures are looking less and less harsh, which is good news. We're in the mid-30s and pretty quiet for Monday and Tuesday. Then another system looks to affect us for the middle of next week. Could be a similar situation where we have some rain and then some snow tries to mix in. It's pretty typical for this time of year, and some snow possible as we get into the start of next weekend. So the active weather is there.
It's spring?
It's spring, meteorologically speaking, and over the next couple of weeks we can kind of expect this as the seasons change. Sometimes the atmosphere can get a little cranky, so we'll enjoy the slightly nicer temperatures while we have them.
They look better.
Yes.
No sub-zero.
Yes.
That's a good thing. Whew. All right. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. Earlier, we showed you some of Gayle King's interview with singer R. Kelly.
Kenneth Craig spoke to the CBS This Morning anchor about the interview and what she was thinking when Kelly jumped out of his chair.
What were you feeling and how were you feeling when you walked away yesterday afternoon?
You know, when it's over, you just sort of sit there and go, whoa, what just happened? You know, Oprah called me, my favorite daughter, favorite son called me and said, are you okay? Were you afraid? And it's interesting, when I was sitting there, I really was not afraid. I did not think that R. Kelly was going to hurt me. I mean, what I was worried about is that in his flailing, and because he was so amped up, that he might accidentally hit me. So I was worried about that. And then I think in a moment like that, I think it's best just to remain calm. I made eye contact with him to sort of say, you know, when you're done, I'm still going to be sitting right here waiting for you.
What about the moment when he actually got out of his chair?
Yeah.
Did that change at all? Were you feeling uncomfortable?
No, I wasn't feeling uncomfortable. I was thinking, where is he going? I was thinking, you know, I was really thinking, I hope he's not leaving. I have some more questions. That's what I was thinking.
And how did you strike that balance? Because when I was watching the Raw interview, I was thinking that the entire time, whoa, she's got to walk a fine line here. She doesn't want to make him too angry where he rips off the mic and he walks out the door.
Well, I was worried that he was going to do that, and I was glad that he didn't. Because, as you see, there's much more to the conversation. And he doesn't stay an angry man the whole time. You know, most of the time he's very calm. He's very level-headed. He just wants people to understand that he thinks, in some ways, that it's a conspiracy against him. All the women are lying. Even his inner circle has been lying. People are trying to get book deals. Everyone's trying to capitalize off of him. But that's really revisionist and selective amnesia based on all that we've heard about R. Kelly. These are not new allegations.
Were you even surprised, knowing what you know about R. Kelly and his past and all of the allegations, that this is how it went?
I was surprised that he was that angry and that he was that emotional. I knew that he wasn't going to, I knew that he was going to deny. I did expect him to deny. I didn't think that he would deny things that have been so obviously been disproven. Because I said, have you ever done anything wrong? He goes, yes, I've been wrong in having a big heart. I mean, and I said to him, it seems like you're playing the victim card. Are you a victim in all of this? I mean, so that did surprise me. You know, everybody can say, well, I wish I would have done that differently. And we got none of that from him.
Interesting.
Gayle King's getting a lot of positive props for the way she kept her composure in that interview. It was sort of like a master class for
just kept his eyes on it.
calm,
I'll be here when you're done.
Yeah.
Well, there's more to come at 4. 1 in 9 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer.
But now there is newly approved technology that is improving survival rates. We'll have that story when Live at 4 continues.
Here's a live look at downtown Madison. Don't let looks fool you. It's still kind of chilly out there, but the sun is shining. This just into the News 3 Now Alert Center. Jeopardy host Alex Trebek announced that he has advanced pancreatic cancer.
This is very sad news. He said he vows to fight the cancer, which has been diagnosed as stage 4. Trebek says, quote, "Now normally the prognosis for this is not very encouraging, but I'm going to fight this and I'm going to keep working."
It is sad news.
Yeah, it is.
Let's hope he beats it.
Yeah, I hope so too. 1 in 9 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime.
Researchers in Britain say new technology is improving survival rates. Gwen Baumgartner reports from London.
For years, doctors have used MRIs to identify suspicious parts of the prostate. Now, new medical software developed at University College London fuses MRI scans with ultrasound images to better pinpoint prostate cancer.
What we're doing is developing the better technology to enable the doctor or surgeon to do a better job.
Researchers say the smart target technology gives surgeons a clear location when inserting the needle during a biopsy.
So the little circle in red, that's the potential tumor.
Exactly.
Scientist David Hawks helped create the system, which diagnosed his own prostate cancer 3 years ago and played a vital role in his treatment.
For anybody who's diagnosed with the likelihood of cancer, it's quite a shock. But it did give me the opportunity to have that technology used on me.
Now other men are using it too.
You can actually see a black area there on the prostate, which is the lesion that we're targeting.
In testing involving 129 men, the Smart Target software helps successfully diagnose more than 90% of prostate cancers.
We're getting more accurate in how we can identify where lesions are, how we can treat lesions, remove them surgically. So it's an ongoing process.
Researchers hope as the process improves, so will survival rates for millions of men. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, London.
And the Smart Target technology has been approved by the FDA after 2 successful trials. Researchers plan to sell the technology to hospitals around the world.
When we come back, he was one of Wisconsin's most important and entertaining political figures.
The life and times of the late Bill Proxmire are detailed in a new book. We'll talk to the author of Proxmire, Bulldog of the Senate, when Live at 4 continues.
Good afternoon. Here is your Wednesday First Alert traffic update. We are going to take a live look on the Beltline and Gammon Road. No major incidents or accidents popping up there in either direction. Traffic heading out smoothly, but we are noticing those normal slowdowns on the Beltline that you might expect during the afternoon rush, and average speeds close to Fish Hatchery Road and Rimrock Road are closer to 20 to 35 miles per hour. Let's look at some drive times. 13 minutes right now eastbound Verona Road to John Nolan with an average speed right around 20 miles per hour. And some other routes eastbound University Avenue to the interstate, that's running a little bit slow right now at 28 minutes with an average speed of around 35 miles per hour. And that is your First Alert traffic update.
All right, Dave, thank you. A family in Massachusetts went above and beyond dealing with winter. Instead of a snowman, they ended up building a snow gorilla. It's 6 feet wide, 10 feet long. A father and his kids built it during a snowstorm in Revere, Massachusetts on Monday. They haven't named the gorilla because Dad says his kids don't want to get too attached to it.
Boy, that's pretty creative.
Yeah, it is creative. Well, for over 30 years, William Proxmire was a major figure in Wisconsin politics.
Denied the governorship 3 times, he shocked everyone by winning a special election in 1957 to replace the late Senator Joe McCarthy, and went on to win re-election 6 times. Now, in what's billed the first comprehensive biography of Proxmire, historian Jonathan Kasperek recalls the late senator in Proxmire, Bulldog of the Senate. Jonathan, congratulations on the book, and welcome to Live at 4. What was your inspiration for writing this book?
The inspiration, I think, really comes from Ellen Proxmire. She was very determined to preserve his legacy, and she organized an oral history project that interviewed dozens of people who knew him, and family members and colleagues in the Senate. And his papers were opened at the Historical Society, so there was an abundance of wonderful material to draw on.
It's surprising to me that this is the first biography. He's such a major political figure in this state.
He is, and it is exciting to be the first sort of attempt to do this.
So he's called the Bulldog of the Senate. Why did he have that reputation?
He was tenacious. The best example of this is his almost single-handed urging the Senate to ratify the anti-genocide treaty. This had been delayed since 1949 when President Truman offered it to the Senate. 1967, Proxmire decides this is what I'm going to do, and he gave a speech on the floor of the Senate every day until it was ratified in 1987. Over 3,200 speeches. Everyone was different.
Really?
His is a remarkable story because he had little to no political experience when he started, and he became such a monumental figure in state politics. What was the secret to his success?
He wanted to meet people. I mean, probably his most famous for his campaigning. He went door to door. His first assembly race, he beat an incumbent basically by going to every house, followed up with a phone call or a postcard. And when he won the nomination, he won election, he decided he was going to run for governor.
And he spent no money campaigning, is that right?
Later on, and he spent money in his first few campaigns, but by 1976, he was so well known and so well liked, all he did was file his nomination papers, got his name on the ballot, and he won 70% of the vote.
And is it true that he used to walk the entire state when he was running for office?
He was a fitness buff, so yes, he was very much into exercise and decided that in the winter of 72, 73, he walked about 1,200 miles in stages and met people in small towns, stopped at shopping centers, stopped outside factory gates, and said hello.
He was pretty well known for his Golden Fleece Awards.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Remind viewers what they were.
The Golden Fleece are wonderful. He picked on projects that the government spent money on that they probably shouldn't have spent money on. My favorite is a report that the Army commissioned that cost $6,000. It was a 17-page report on how to purchase Worcestershire sauce.
That took 17 pages.
17 pages and $6,000.
How do you think he would fare in today's Washington?
I think he would be a little uncomfortable. The idea of deliberately trying to go out and meet people as much as possible seems to have faded a little bit from politics. And he was particularly eager to meet people who disagreed with him, right? Mm-hmm. Now, he didn't just speak to people who were going to say yes and applaud. He wanted to hear contrary opinions, and he wanted to argue and debate.
He was a Democrat, but he crossed the aisle a lot.
He did. He actually supported a lot of Reagan's program in the early 80s. So he became a little bit unpopular among the Democrats later on. But he's an independent.
And he eventually had retired. He suffered from Alzheimer's?
He did. He started recognizing the symptoms in the mid-'80s and decided he was not going to stick around if he couldn't do his job.
So was this, his tenure the end of an era, do you think? Do you think a Bill Proxmire could, as Mark was saying, could exist
Oh, I hope
today?
So. That would be wonderful to have that kind of dedicated, determined servant around.
Yeah, I've sort of missed that in some areas now. Interesting. I'm glad you wrote the book. I think a lot of people need to know more about Bill Proxmire and what he meant to this state.
Oh, I agree.
And you're a Wisconsin native, so
yes.
and you as well.
Oh yeah, I grew
growing
up
with him.
So he was my senator.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear more about the book and meet the author, Jonathan, you can see him tonight from 6 to 7 at the State Historical Society Museum on the Capitol Square. Doors open at 5:30. Jonathan, thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to reading the book. Great to see you.
We'll be right back with a final check your forecast. A quiet evening, we like that.
Yeah, pretty quiet. Another cold one out there, but I mean we're used to it by now, right? We can get behind some warmer temperatures that are on the way for this weekend. Right now, looking at mostly sunny skies in Madison on the WISC-TV Skycam. And as we head into tonight, partly cloudy and very cold. So we're not bitterly cold anymore. We've graduated to very cold.
There you go.
And then we're going to eventually graduate to just cold. And then maybe we can start talking about mild temperatures. So over the next 12 hours, we'll see those temps dip through the teens into the single digits overnight. And as we head into tomorrow, highs will get closer to, a little bit closer to normal for this time of year, into the mid to upper 20s. That's what we hit today with a little bit more sunshine than we probably should have gotten, so we'll be thankful for that. And then as we head into Friday, the first time in about a week and a half in Madison that will be above freezing. Saturday and Sunday could have some rain and some snow showers as well.
And we lose an hour of sleep over the weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Ugh, I don't even want to think about that.
That's right. I forgot about that. Spring forward.
Why would he do that? Extra hour of daylight to shovel snow, I guess.
I don't know. Blame Ben Franklin.
I don't think it was his fault. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jake.
Tomorrow here on Live at 4, Emmy Fink will let us know what's going on in the 608 this weekend.
And CBS travel editor Peter Greenberg will join us. He'll fill us in on 5 things the airlines won't tell you. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4. In today's Final Touch, apparently cats are